When I sat down with my wife and told her that I was going to do a TEDx talk, she suggested that I come on stage with a loaf of gluten-free bread and an avocado and smash them together to make smashed avocado. But we settled with me doing an Ellen DeGeneres selfie, all right? So on 3, I want everyone to say smashed avocado, all right? You ready? Turn this around. 1, 2, 3. Smash. Oh, that photo's going to go viral for sure. All right. My name's Nick. I'm a millennial. 75% of my customers are millennials, and I'm here to set the record straight about us. For some background on me, I'm a 27-year-old serial entrepreneur, which basically means I've never had a secure paycheck. I managed to sell the most jewellery on eBay while I was at uni when I was 19 out of my bedroom, which led me then to co-found a business called Afterpay. What Afterpay does is it essentially allows someone who's buying a $200 dress to pay 4 payments of $50. So it costs the customer nothing extra. We pay the retailers straight away and we take all the risk. We've grown really quickly, which has been largely driven by millennials. A bit over 2 years ago, when we started, we had less than 10 retailers. We've now got over 7,000 retailers. We have a couple thousand customers. We've now got over 1 million customers. And we process annualized sales through our platform of over $1 billion. So we've grown really quickly. When I was building my business, I believed that if I could drive mass millennial adoption, it would drive mainstream adoption. And I've been really privileged to watch how millennials are shifting society. Millennials genuinely influence the older generation, and they educate them to engage in services that make life more enjoyable. So being 27, I fit smack bang in the middle of the millennial cohort, and I fit the profile to a T. What concerns me, or what is upsetting for me, is the stereotypes that are thrown our way, and they really cloud us from talking about the true legacy that millennials are leaving. Our instantaneous gratification gene does sometimes get in the way and distract us from taking the time to think about what certain scenarios deserve. So millennials are shifting society. We're leaving a legacy, but is it the legacy that we want to leave? So I'd like to introduce the concept of millemas. These are the millennial dilemmas. They're life's big little problems. So how I think of millemas, it's the everyday hurdles of the older generation as they're experienced by the millennial generation. And millemas are real. You need to be in the millennial club to understand them and know that they're real. I saw something really funny on Instagram the other day. It said there should be a millennial edition of Monopoly where everyone just walks around the board paying rent. No one actually buys anything. But that's a true millenma, right? And sure, millennials are guilty of many things. We have our generational quirks, we have our superficial side, but these stereotypes have really opened us up to outright character assassination at times. And this frustrates me because more than any generation in history, millennials have the opportunity to leave a deep, lasting and positive change. So it's time to stop being the generation that gets written off and become the generation that rewrites history. So let's dive a bit deeper into our everyday millemas. Millenma number 1, we are absolutely guilty of instantaneous gratification. We live in the moment, we live for instantaneous gratification. I'm not gonna lie, I was in an Uber on the way home from work last week, and I did order Uber Eats while I was in the Uber, and it was kind of a race home of who was gonna get there first. We live for our 5-star Uber ratings, we live for our 50 Instagram likes. But that's understandable because we have grown up in being at the forefront of this technology revolution. We're the early adopter in all the main technologies that are coming through. So looking at it from a positive light, I believe it means we're very decisive, we're intuitive, we trust our gut, and we put stuff out into the world, and then the world gives us real-time positive feedback on whether it was the right or wrong thing. We fail fast, and we're always learning. Dilemma number 2, irresponsible. This is an outright myth. My business has been driven off the growth of debit cards. 2 out of every 3 transactions in Australia are processed on a debit card, not a credit card. And 90% of my Afterpay orders use a debit card. What happened, or why the trend's been driven through, is that millennials feel responsible by using their debit card. It links into their bank balance. So when the global financial crisis hit, the middle millennial, being myself, we just turned 18. And it sent this shock through society to say, you should spend money that you have. Spend money and be responsible. Millennials are really, really responsible, and it's an absolute misconception. Dilemma number 3, entitled and disloyal. This is my favourite misconception. Everyone says that millennials are disloyal, but actually millennials are very loyal. In fact, they're vocally loyal to brands which deserve their support. The bar to loyalty is really high, but when millennials believe in the brand and they've had a true connection in the brand because it's made them feel special, it's built a proper relationship, millennials are vocally loyal. I swear I had absolutely nothing to do with this, but my customers, they made a group on Facebook called We Love Afterpay, and it has over 100,000 members. So millennials are really vocally loyal to brands that deserve their loyalty. Or let's look at entitled millennials in the workforce. You know, you want to have a long and rewarding career, but you haven't been given enough responsibility, you're not challenged, you haven't been promoted in months. Many employers look at this as a sense of impatience or entitlement. Don't get me wrong, it has to be managed, but these traits and this entrepreneurial spirit is incredible if it's harnessed in the right way. When you think about the economic environment that we have grown up, it's been almost perfect. We haven't had an economic downturn, we haven't had high unemployment, and actually the opposite's been true. Because we were at the forefront of this technology revolution, we were the early adopters, we were a really highly demanded resource, so we've never had a problem getting work. So our upbringing economic environment has perfectly fostered a confident entrepreneurial spirit that just wants to run. If they believe in a purpose, they'll do everything they can to get things done. And a number of social commentators have been very vocal about millennials in the workforce, saying we are driven by free food and beanbags, and that we're social media addicts who are hopelessly entitled because our parents have inadvertently destroyed us. I know, it's true. But when I look at it, my parents, they encouraged me to negotiate. They encouraged me to find angles. They rewarded me for challenging the status quo and for speaking my mind. So here's what I think. I think millennials have grit. Call it entitled or disloyal if you want to, but millennials have perseverance. We have a mindset that cannot be taught or trained. It's come through the coming together of a perfect economic environment and being at the forefront of this technology revolution. We will run through walls to get something done if it's for a purpose we truly believe in. When you think about all the businesses which have shifted society in recent times, they've all been driven by millennials. Whether it's the social media revolution, the shared economy revolution, the music streaming or video streaming revolution, they're all driven by millennials. Millennials are the early adopters, and they educate and influence the older generation and the mass market to engage in services that make life more enjoyable. Millennials are coming into their perfect point of power. We are not the new kids on the block anymore. We are not the people that the older generation are complaining about and the older bosses are complaining about. We now are the bosses. Did you know that millennials are Australia's largest population cohort? And in just over 10 years, we will earn 2 out of every $3 of income in Australia. It's pretty incredible. It's a little bit scary, but it's incredible. We're coming into our perfect point of power, and the world is trusting us with their future. But this instantaneous gratification gene that we're guilty of is sometimes getting in the way of us taking the time certain scenarios deserve. We're leaving a legacy but is it really the legacy that we want to leave? So, without a doubt, the biggest dilemma is the millennial legacy. We are running at 1,000,000 miles an hour, but what we need to do is take a break, take a breath, think about what legacy we are leaving on this world. I sure know it's a mark that I want to be proud of, and then decisions over the next 5 years are going to determine how generations for centuries to come remember the millennial generation. When I avoided a corporate job and created my own destiny, it was driven by the legacy that I wanted to leave. I wanted to build things that make life so enjoyable and improve people's lives so much they think, how did I actually live without this? But beyond that, I would love to be part of helping the millennials shake off all these stereotypes that we don't deserve. I'd love my legacy to be helping millennials leave the legacy they deserve to leave. Let's be known for grit, for perseverance, for applying our skills to make a real difference. Over the next 5 years, the world is going to be faced with incredibly important decisions. Decisions such as climate change, inequality, an aging population. Guess who's going to have to make all these decisions? We are, the millennials. So let's turn our dilemmas into opportunities and make sure we leave a legacy that makes us proud. So if I can finish by asking you one thing, please take a moment to breathe. Please think hard about what legacy you want to leave on this world. Your time is now. Thank you.